Nerd Hatters, I am here with Yvonne Chan. Did I say your name correctly, or is it Chan?
Good enough.
Good.
Usually I just say Yvonne Chan. The Chinese
Yvonne
pronunciation,
Chan. Okay.
is Jan.
John. Okay. I had a
Mhm.
feeling. I always like saying people's names the way they prefer, or the authentic way. But usually I have to ask. uh, so I'm here with Yvonne Chan, and we met on the second day of the RiverRun International Film Festival. She was actually talking to Timothy Cooper, who I'd interviewed just the day before. And so Yvonne gave me her business card, and we got connected over Instagram, and this has turned into an interview. So Yvonne, thank you so much for joining us here on the Nerd Hat podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's great to see you again.
Absolutely. So how did you enjoy your? I know you had 3 or 4 days at RiverRun here in Winston. Is that about right?
Yeah, I had a great time actually, and I would highly encourage all creatives, people in the industry if you, I know it's a luxury to do so, but perhaps once a year, just to, actually allocate time away. And I would encourage going someplace you've never been, or at least away from your home market. So there's a full concentration and presence to really, take it all in.
Was this your first time in Winston-Salem?
Yeah, in my prior life, I've had a few conferences in the Research Triangle. So, but
Oh,
never out
yes.
here. Yeah, so it's really cool.
Well, welcome back. And I know you're not there today, but welcome back. Past tense. So tell me about the entry in the festival that you were there to represent. We Are Kings.
Yeah, We Are Kings. It's a comedic short film written and directed by Frank Sun. And so I'm one of the actors in the film. Ostensibly, it's a coming of age story based on his childhood growing up in North Carolina. And for me, I see it as a love letter, so to speak, to his childhood best friend and to a certain degree, his first crush and his mom. And there are so much subtext. We could go into that later, but yeah, it's a fun, heartfelt, feel good film.
Well, I will actually get a chance to see it tonight at the second showing, and I know it's also showing virtually. So for those of our listeners who are hearing this on the 23rd, it's still playing virtually at this point at the RiverRun. So you just have to go to riverrun.com and buy yourself a ticket. It's only available through the 27th, so catch it while you can. Do you know, I know that's often the goal, do you know if it's been picked up by any streaming services at this point, if it might show anywhere in the future?
Yeah, we just got wind that we'll have our New York premiere at a pretty snazzy festival. I don't think I'm allowed to actually say it out loud.
Not allowed to announce it yet. Okay.
But that's in June, and it'll be a little bit of a homecoming, and it's our
Nice.
base. So it'll be fun. Yeah. And then in terms of longer term distribution plan, that was one thing that was really good about the festival. You do get to talk to so many industry people. Normally, it's more of a topic for feature films, but alas, there are some potential options for short films as well. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I know. That's something I would love to see more of now, dipping my feet in to short films here in the festival and getting a chance to talk to the filmmakers. I'm like, these need to be seen. Like there should be, if there isn't already, there should be a streaming service just for short films. Like, hey, some techie out there, you need to start that if you haven't already.
Yeah.
Because I know, directors, actors, you put so much of yourselves and the writers and just everyone involved put so much yourselves into these films, and just you'd love to get them seen, I imagine, more than anything else. And like festivals are great, but if it doesn't have a life beyond that, I imagine that has to be a little disappointing sometimes. Like maybe not, maybe it's just for the art, you enjoy it, but um, has that
Yeah,
been a frustration at all with short films, or just?
yeah. I mean, historically, this is, by the way, my perspective. I think historically, short films are perhaps almost viewed as a director's demonstration project, so to speak. And it certainly gives a lot of
Mm-hmm.
actors their first foray and some footage for the reels. And to have it shown at multiple festivals in smaller venues, sometimes big and small and mixed, is really satisfying and serves its purpose. But I'm hearing, and of course, sometimes in the it's more of an atypical scenario where, say, and actually RiverRun, let me put in a little plug. It's an Oscar qualifying festival, which is exciting. So for those winners
Mm-hmm.
of their particular categories, it may perhaps move on to, say, showcase at the Academy Awards and perhaps more accolades from there. And there may be a life on, say, Netflix or whatever streaming service. But again, speaking to some filmmakers, I'm hearing that perhaps there could be options in other ways. I'm kind of conflating a couple conversations, but one really interesting convo with our producer, who I don't know if I'm allowed to say he's a Disney executive, and so he has a global view
Uh-huh.
of the trends in different parts
Mm.
of the world. And he's saying the appetite in Asia, which I didn't know this, is more of shorter, you know,
Mm.
uh, versions of content as opposed to long features. So anyway, and the world's changing. You know this. This industry has, gosh, evolved so much. Who knows where it's going next, right? Yeah.
Who knows? Indeed, it has been a very malleable medium in many ways, and obviously with the advent of Netflix and the streaming revolution, things have changed so much and continuing to change.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, so keep an eye out for that. You can check on Yvonne's IMDb, listeners, and just keep an eye out for when things might pop up on streaming. IMDb tries to keep up with that, a listing of like where to see it, where to view it, so you never know when it might pop up. So yeah, check out her work.
Thank you very much. And I do want to
Okay.
say, uh-huh.
I was just gonna say that'll be the little short segment, and then now we can transit. Obviously, I'll edit this part out, but we can transition now into the longer form. So that'll kind of wrap up the little. So yeah, if you want to say like a final word here for the short segment, I'll edit this together, and then we can transition into the 5 to 10 minutes discussing your other work.
Yeah, yeah.
If that's cool with you.
I was gonna just very quickly at least talk about what the short film is about. I feel like I sold it short. Like I didn't really say anything
Ah,
about it, Yeah. So maybe even a
okay.
couple of sentences about that. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, and I can always like swap around too if I can figure out a way to make it semi-seamless. I could take that. I will need to leave in 10 minutes. Sadly, actually, my wife is going to see one of the films at RiverRun that she's going to review. So yeah, that's why I was a little frustrated with my technology. I was like, but anyway, yeah, if you want to go ahead and share a little bit more on that, and then as we have time, we could get into the other stuff.
Sure. I think part of the reason the film really resonated with me is the bigger story that I think may be
Mm-hmm.
applicable to like everybody. And that is throughout life, not just when you're a teenager, but all throughout lives as we pursue things, at what point is the price too high when it's losing your identity, people who you love, I thought that was a really key message. And beyond that, also that the idea of the cork that you try to hide, right? This is quoting alphabet, could actually help lead you to the wizard. So whatever you feel may have been an issue could actually be the thing that differentiates you, nourishes you, and empowers you in the long run. I really like those two messages.
Well, I'm thoroughly looking forward to seeing it tonight. And obviously, I'll let the listeners know what my thoughts were afterward as well. But thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk to us about it. And like I said, listeners, go check out We Are Kings on streaming. It's available through the 27th through RiverRun, and I imagine it'll pop up in some other festivals as well. So maybe you'll be able to get a virtual ticket through some of those if you can't see it through RiverRun. So transitioning now to the longer form.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll play around with this, and I'll let you I'll send you a link. I did this with Timothy. I'll send you a link to a preview of it, and you can kind of approve or disapprove. Let me know if there's anything you want to change before we officially release as well.
Sure.
Okay, so getting on to the other questions. When you gave me your business card, I couldn't help but notice MD PhD. I'm curious what the story is there. You told me a little bit about it, but
yeah. So I was an ER doc in the New York metro area. I count residency days, almost 20 years. And absolutely loved it. Suited my personality and kind of gave a lot of foundation to my life today and who I am as a person. The PhD part is also very interesting. I love your, this is my nerd shirt. I've been
thanks. Yeah.
I'm definitely a self-identified nerd my whole life. I love science. So I would argue that my identity as a research scientist, sometimes outweigh even the medical part. So after I started practicing clinically, I went back to school and got my PhD in clinical research. So I spent significant amount of time in the mobile health research area, and that was at its infancy. So I'm really proud of some of the work that we've done there.
So how did the transition to acting happen? Was it something you had dreamed of further back when you were a kid and just finally came to a point in your life where, you know what, I want to try this? Obviously you came to a point where you decided to do it full time, but was there a transition period where you were kind of acting on the weekends or when you're not on shift or on call? I don't know if you worked at a hospital during those periods, but how did the transition to that come about?
My mom used to tell me, so her memory of my toddlerhood, which I don't quite recall, as I was the girl that would run around singing and dancing. So perhaps I wanted to be a stage actress, toddler. And I've always been on the creative side, different forms of it, drawing, painting. But anyway, when it comes to actually acting, it was when my daughter was very young. Now I have distance. I'm able to call it out. But at the time, I wholeheartedly thought perhaps she would want to be an actress and a model. So I was pushing her to do so, so I could be the momager and have my full-time job and be so wonderful at it. Fast forward, I don't know, 10 years, and COVID hit. It was a perfect transition in my life, where once again, it really is a privilege, and to be able to say, you know what, I feel fulfilled. The first half of my career was so and so, whatever, and now I really want to. And I don't do anything. Am I allowed to curse? Half-arsed. So once I make the decision,
yeah, we have an explicit rating. You can drop an F-bomb if you want. No C words though. We do stay away from those.
You're not British. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, yeah. So it's about a little over 3 years. Yeah, full-time effort.
Okay. Okay. Well, I had a chance to catch up with some of your previous work, and one in particular. It was hard to find some of it on streaming, hence the short film. They need to get on streaming more often. That would be awesome. But I did find an episode of Evil Lives Here that you did back in 2023. So, uh, what was it like playing a real life person? Sungnam, am I saying her name correctly?
Yeah.
And
Well, that was one of my earlier works, but it was super fun. I love playing the antagonist or somebody who is, well, any really complex, interesting character is juicy for an actor to portray.
mm,
But so this woman was a little bit out there, and on a, it's this is TMI, but a lot of that director really pushed me to go 10, uh, meaning go a
mm,
little psycho on screen. And most of it probably didn't quite fit the storytelling. So those clips I kept, but it wasn't really part of. But anyway, yeah, it was my first time handling a real gun. It's like, gosh, it's pretty heavy, and I have to, use a prop knife to, cut my husband's face. Ultimately, doing him in, attempting to murder my two daughters. I mean, I'm
yeah.
sorry,
So
the laugh.
definitely. Well, I don't know if spoiler warning applies to this type of thing because it's like a true crime that's actually happened in real life. But
Yeah.
but yeah, if you wanted to not be spoiled, but yeah, that's an intense villain, and it's not too often. And again, obviously this happened in real life, but I haven't seen either fictionally or nonfiction too many instances of female domestic violence portrayed. Typically, which I think statistically it is more often the male, obviously, but you just don't see it portrayed too often. And yeah, it's pretty rough. Pretty rough.
Yeah, and I'm like, now I'm catching myself. I didn't mean to be insensitive. I was just more speaking about it
No,
from
no, no.
artistic experience.
Was it I noticed that there was a couple scenes there where you interacted with the child actress. Was that a little tougher, like portraying anger? Did you have to do some repair afterwards with the kids? Like they looked like they might have been maybe 8, 9, thereabouts.
You know, children really surprise you. Well, I wasn't the one. If they needed any kind of post production or shoot to kind
Right, right. Probably the director or someone else.
yeah, but the reality is, well, that's why it's magical, right? They intuitively know that this is all fake. As soon as the director calls cut, I'm back to my normal self, and yeah, I don't think they were traumatized or anything like that. And they're such pros at such a young age.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So obviously your short film that played at RiverRun was a comedy. I noticed from your demo reel you may have done some other comedies as well. I'm curious which was more challenging for you, playing a just basically an evil villain, albeit a real life one, versus a comedic role. I've heard some actors say that comedy is actually harder.
Oh, yeah, I feel blessed. I truly enjoy, and I believe I am able to do both genres. And within comedy, this is one of the feature films that's in post production. I hope we could get out there soon, where I was able to
Oh yeah.
play really quirky out there. It was the broadest comedy possible, and where the director came from. A background in which all the actors that were hired, a lot of them are definitely professional comedy actors, and we're all encouraged to just improv and really just go there and offer different options. So that was great fun. And whereas this short film, I want to, give Frank, the director, props for this. It was a little more low key when it comes to the performance. I don't know if I use the right word here, at least for my character. It was a little more reserved, and that's what it called for. So for me as an actor, after having done pretty extreme, dramatic, big, crying, emotional breakdown scenes, and again, I already alluded to the big comedic, broad performances, to have a relatively quiet, nuanced role. I was checking kind of, am I even like, am I earning my paycheck here? Are we here to essentially to leverage our deep emotions? But so here's where you have to trust the director, who truly is the holder of the vision, and he sees the big picture and where you fit. So that was a great lesson for me in a way, to say, gosh, I appreciated the quietness, but it's equally, to me anyway, touching.
Now, is that, I'm looking at the list of upcoming here, was that Miss Mermaid or was that Damned If You Do? The one you're just
Damned if
talking
you
about?
do.
Damned If You
It's
Do.
a
I
comedy.
was going to say that sounded more like a comedy title. Well, sadly, that's all the time we have right now for this interview. No reason we can't do another in the future, but for today, I just want to thank you, Yvonne, so much for coming on to talk to us for a few minutes. And listeners, keep an eye out for these upcoming films: Miss Mermaid, We Are Kings, currently playing at RiverRun, and Damned If You Do. And I saw also another one that releases here, Forge. Didn't see that on streaming yet, but hopefully maybe that one will pop up
Yeah,
eventually too.
that screened at South by Southwest a couple months ago.
Ah,
So
nice.
that was a world premiere. We have one, oh gosh, Blue Sun Palace, which was at Cannes, and now screaming. I've lost my mind.
Screening.
Is being screened at different locations, more recently in Manhattan as well. And a quick plug, I'm on FBI Most Wanted on, it should be on May 6th. So that was a fun
May
role as
6th
well.
episode.
Yeah. So check it out if you can.
Awesome. All right, listeners, you can find Yvonne on Instagram. It's Yvonne Chan MD, correct? That's your handle there?
Yeah, and I would say that's probably where I'm most active. It's really hard to um, maintain multiple social media accounts, but that's probably my most up to date, and where I really try to engage and share the latest. Thank you so much, Richard. It was really amazing meeting
Oh,
you. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
And thank you.